Hello, good people. I hope you're all doing well, despite the current situation in many countries where we have heavy rainfall. In my country, Kenya, about half the counties, that is about 25 out of the 47 counties, have been affected terribly by the heavy flooding, which has caused a lot of havoc. People have died, others injured, scores left homeless as their houses were either swept away or submerged in water. And even schools have now been closed indefinitely. Several roads have also been closed. All in all, we thank God in all situations and pray that it will come to a normalcy soon, because this is crazy, it's disastrous, it's scaring, and what else can I say? In my village, which is on the slopes of the Kilimambogo Hills, we have not had very serious episodes, except the roads being impassable. Actually, we don't have any roads. They are not accessible at all. Getting to the main road is a problem. So if you have to go to hospital or go to work, it's a major challenge. There's a small river called Kaveva, which feeds into the Athi River. It fills constantly and therefore making access difficult. If you haven't checked my last video, kindly do so and see what neighbors did on the holiday of 1st May, which was Labor Day, in order to repair the road as they wait for the government to come and support them. Welcome to African Moms World. If you are a returning subscriber, thank you so much for always supporting us by coming back to view our videos. But if it's your first time, welcome and thank you for stopping by. Kindly subscribe and join the family. In today's video, we are going to spend the day in our small organic farm. God is good because despite the heavy flooding, our crops have not been affected. In fact, they have done really well. They have flourished. The garden looks so good, and it's harvest time for most of our vegetables. Considering this is a semi-arid land and water is so rare, so when it rains, it's really precious to us. And we thank God for this. So we will be harvesting vegetables, digging in some places, weeding, clearing the bushy compound by slashing the tall grass. We'll also be pruning the trees because they have also become very bushy, and generally touring the farm to check on the progress. We're also going to see what is ready to be planted or transplanted, and even where this should be done. I do not know the scientific or English names for some of the vegetables, and will therefore call them by the Kiswahili names or in my local language. Should you know their names in English, kindly write it in the comment section so that we continue learning together as we go. I always tell you that however small space you have, use it to plant small crops, even if it means in sacks or pots, since they will come in handy one day. Imagine a situation when you have money and the floods can't allow you to access the food market. You could easily sleep hungry. Eating what you grow is healthy, saves time and money, and of course, good exercise and overall good health. And so come along with me as we spend the day together in this small organic food garden. And remember to leave a sweet comment or a suggestion below. Wow, and before I forget, I will be doing this myself, except for the assistance I will get when clearing the compound by slashing. I actually wish I knew how to slash. I would still do this on my own. I really love my garden, and I take pride in doing these things on my own so that I'm able to eat what I have actually grown. Try this also, and you will get so much fulfillment from doing things yourself. And that's why I love the countryside, not just buying things from the supermarket or from the food market, but also being able to do it for myself in my garden the way I know it best. So being an African woman, I knew I was going to take a lot of time in the food garden. So I decided to prepare beans by sorting them out so that I would come back home and have something ready for the day to be eaten by my family. So as I was taking my breakfast, I was also sorting out the beans. They are not so dirty, and these are last year's harvest, which a friend of mine brought for me, and I still have quite an amount which I can be able to eat as I wait for the next harvest for this year. So after doing that, I had to soak them so that as I come from the farm, I'm able to put them on the fire. It is a shiny day, but it's also very cloudy, meaning that it's going to rain. So I had someone helping me to clear the compound. It was quite bushy, so we had to slash and ensure that we have a clean compound, because when it rains, it becomes so soggy and small ants or animals could easily hide in here. So after being slashed, this is how it looked. Very nice. A lot more different from how it has been for the last few weeks. Then we went to the garden. I've actually planted a lot of cowpeas, different types of vegetables, and just decided to weed because in some areas they actually had a lot of weeds in them, and not just hands could do that, but I actually literally had to use my hoe or my djembe to dig this place so that we don't have so many weeds on the farm. This is something I have always done for a long time, right from when I was a young girl, and I really enjoy weeding. So because I'm in the right gear in my gumboots and my djembe with me, I'm able to look at the areas where I need to bring out the weeds and dig them out so that I can continue having vegetables and even the beans that we have planted. Then when my hoe became very tedious to use, I had to sharpen it using a traditional sharpener. I actually don't know what it is called, but I had to make it sharp so that it would be easy for me to use the hoe. I don't know what you use in your place. Let me know in the comments how you ensure that your hoe or your djembe remains sharp so that it's easy for you to use in the garden. This is where we had our tomatoes last year, and they have really pushed us. But now because of the heavy rains, you can see the tomatoes are affected. They are not looking smart. We just have a few, and soon we will not be having any. Actually, this small variety are the ones that are still existing. I don't know how long they will take us, but we still have a few of them. So I was able to harvest some, which I was able to use for the day, and still had some left on the farm. Actually, I had planted some just behind here, but because of the rain, I can see very little tomatoes left. Then these are the Irish potatoes. This is a seed for last year's harvest, and so I've been able to plant them again, and I'm hoping that I'm going to get some harvest from this. This is a tomato which was planted earlier, and you can see it already has flowers. It has already flowered. This is the tomato that it's a very nice variety actually, but because of the rain, I don't know if it's going to be survive. If you recall from any of the videos I have shown, this pawpaw is a dwarf pawpaw. I actually planted them with others which have already fruited, although it had an injury, but I can see now it has started growing. So I just had to uproot some of the grass around it so that it can continue to grow. It has grown a little taller than it has been. Then here I have a variety of crops that have been grown here. Just to be keen, this is the hot pepper. I had actually put them in a container and they are quite a number. I gave out some to my neighbors, so I have planted just around 5 of them. Personally, I actually don't use hot pepper, but my friends, my visitors, none of my family members actually uses pepper. But it's a good thing to have because it came in handy when we were keeping chicken. I would put it in the water and it did very well. Now this, I don't know whether this is maize, but we have planted maize. Then you can see from here we have bananas. This is where we harvested one last year. We have quite a number of suckers here and they're doing very well. They're actually so healthy, growing faster than I expected. Rainwater actually is a miracle for me. The crops are growing so fast. In this container, we always throw pawpaw seeds after eating. And this is where we get all our seeds from, just this container. So we already have some here. A friend of mine visited and I gave out some. Then this is where we have planted our spring onions. Actually, the bulb onions are so expensive now at the food market. In fact, they are not available. So this is what we normally use, especially when we are cooking the green leafy vegetables and even in eggs. Generally, this is what we are using. So because I'm going to cook cowpeas today, I harvested some of these spring onions. And plucking them is so easy because you just pick the ones that look big, the ones that look tall, or is it fat? But I have quite a few, and every time you pluck, because the rains are here, you just come back 2-3 days, again you have more that you can pluck. So I intend to put more and just fill this part that has been set aside just for these spring onions. Then on the side here we have the African nightshade. This is a very nice vegetable. We call it managu. It's very popular among most of the communities in my country, Kenya. So there are quite a few here and we'll be able to transplant them elsewhere because they have grown several of them in one place. I really like managu. Then I took time just to see how the other vegetables are doing. It's a bit bushy in some places, and in others it is still okay. But before I started weeding again, I decided to pluck some of the cowpeas because this is what I'm going to have tomorrow and the following day. So for a first harvest, this is how we're supposed to harvest them. You don't pluck the leaves, but the stem in the middle in a place where you could easily have it spread out, where there's a sucker right underneath it. In some communities, they actually just pluck the leaves, but that makes the vegetable to age fast. So I plucked some of these vegetables, cowpeas, which we call kunde. It's a dark green vegetable and it is very rich in iron. Many communities in Kenya use it, either eaten alone or mixed with other foods. For example, if you cook it and eat it together with beef or matumbo, which is the animal, cow or goat intestines, it is very nice. So this is the way you harvest first time cowpeas. They will last for a longer time. Because we did this last year, in fact, we have some that are a crop for last year. They don't age fast. So just take note of how I am harvesting them. Look at where we are cutting them from. And as you can see, look at that. This is the only way you are going to have your crop last longer. Look at that. Just look at that. But if you do not harvest them this way, they will age much faster. And who wants to keep growing vegetables? Once you've grown them, you want to eat them for a longer time. Because I'm a giver, and when my friends come, this is what I always pluck for them. So these are second or even third time harvest. Since it was last year's, now you can see how long they have grown. As they continue to spread out, you have more leaves, which you can be able to pluck. And see, they become even soft because there are new leaves that always come on it. So you can see the difference in the way I'm plucking the vegetable. And this was a surprise to me. I didn't know that the cowpeas are also a climber. They have climbed on this maize. And this is good because you can now harvest more leaves because they can spread out more. Look at that. This is how to ensure that you have more cowpeas for a longer period. I had planted so many pawpaws, actually about 10. And interestingly, 4 of them are actually males. And they're doing really well. But at least I have this one, which is a female. And see, it has fruited. Finally, it has fruited. And I'm so excited because I have not eaten these pawpaws yet since I planted them last year. And then we have these trees from the pine family. They had become so bushy and we actually had to prune them. But they are looking really nice. So we had to cut some of the branches that had come from below. And this is how it looks. So they look very nice. Even the males, even if it's not going to give me a pawpaw, but it's looking beautiful. Look at those flowers. I don't know how you even know that it's a male or a female when it is still growing. But anyway, they also have their role. Although there are so many, 4, those are too many. Just look at our farm, how it looks. We put a few maize plants, but they have also done very well. So beautiful. Look at these cowpeas. This garden is looking really nice. I'm feeling so happy, so proud actually, that I have vegetables which will push me for a while. Can you see the birds on this post? It's also looking so cloudy. I know it's going to rain very soon. And then I've been wondering why my vegetables have holes. And to my surprise, we have grasshoppers. If you're around here and you're watching, can grasshoppers actually eat green vegetables like this? Anyway, our beans are also doing well. They are already flowering. And this is really a short time because now this is the 2nd month. And already our beans have flowered, which means very soon we are going to see some pods on them. And I'm going to be extremely excited. Then this is our lemon tree. It has really taken long. Just see how short it is, and it's a year old, very short. It hasn't grown much. Then we have amaranth. There are so many small ones beneath here. The cowpeas have actually covered them, but we have quite a number of them, which will give us some vegetables for the next few weeks or months, because I have a variety of vegetables, green leafy vegetables. We even have the red amaranth. Look at that. Looks very nice. And this is the pomegranate fruit. It's a very delicate fruit. Just see how thin it is. It has taken quite a while. Imagine it was in a socket. Now we have transplanted it and the growth is so slow. It's so thin. I can't wait. Then this is my favorite, the dwarf papaya, dwarf pawpaw. These are 10 fruits already on this short plant. Initially, we were doing irrigation, and this big bottle is what we were using for irrigation. But now, since we have plenty of rainfall, I can now remove it. We were actually holding it strong here with these stones, and now I can also remove the stones so that it can breathe. Papayas are rich in vitamin A and also vitamin C. So if you have opportunity, please grow them. This is called nderema. It's an iron-rich vegetable. I don't know how you call it in your mother tongue or in English. Please let me know. This is morinda, very popular in the western and north and the lake region in my country, Kenya. Very nice when you mix it with the cowpeas. And this is how you harvest it. So I'm going to combine it with the cowpeas that I have just harvested. And I'm going to have a very good meal. These are sweet potatoes. I'm growing them for the first time, but they're doing really well. I planted them just on the ground, the orange fleshed and also the white fleshed. But they're doing really well. They have grown so fast. There are some weeds in it, and here I cannot use the hoe in some areas, so I have to just pluck out the weeds so that I ensure that they don't get so bushy. Even so, the weeds are not so many, so I just have to push aside the vines, and then I pluck any of those weeds that are inside my potato farm. If you notice, I also planted some maize here, and done again or given another opportunity, I will not mix them with maize because they grow so fast and they need space. Maize will require you to weed several times, but the sweet potatoes you can just use your hand, and that's exactly what I am doing. When I move away some of these vines, I can see that it has some roots. Anywhere that it has touched the ground, there are roots on it, which means you can easily cut those vines and be able to transplant them. Look at these ones here. Just cut from there and you can transplant them. So you can even just grow sweet potatoes, not necessarily for the root itself, but even make a business by cutting the vines and selling them. How much, I am not sure, but that's something that is doable. I haven't planted in a big section because it's the first time. This is just trial. I also added some pawpaws because the others were for last year, and I had some that were in the seed bed. So we have actually transplanted them, a few, and they're doing very well. Not knowing whether it is male or female, but we will plant because also we need trees, and they don't have to be the exotic ones. This is the vegetable that I harvested. not is, but these are the vegetables I harvested, including the spring onions. There are also some tomatoes in it. And I'll continue with the work in the garden. Then I'll be able to go with my vegetables that I have harvested. So generally, this is how my farm looks like. We have done some tour of the farm, and I hope you have enjoyed it. These are the Irish potatoes. You can see the tomatoes. And before we forget, this is where it all began. We have planted spinach in this container. These are very delicate vegetables to grow. Most of them, as you can see, I transplanted. They are not doing well, but I still need to plant them because I need these vegetables. Spinach is a good vegetable. These are tomatoes. A few of them have survived. And these ones in this container is a nice variety. They're very small tomatoes, and I need to transplant them as well. These ones are also doing well. It's a different variety. Actually, what happens when we cut any of the tomatoes or any have rotted, this is where we come to place them. Then they grow again, and we are able to transplant them from here and plant them elsewhere. In this container, I have the pomegranates. This is the fruit I was telling you is very delicate. Actually, this is where we put the seeds, and in some socket, the black paper bag. They are so slow in growth. I've never seen a fruit tree that is so difficult to grow like this one. And so I'm just trying my luck. I hope I can have some that will survive. Because look at this one. This one's actually 4 in this socket. And even if I put it in one, it's still going to grow very slow. The stem is so thin, yet I have used organic manure. If any of you knows how else I can plant this, please let me know in the comments section. I realized also that our tomatoes are dry. Generally, the seed beds are also dry, so I'm watering them. I don't have a nice watering jar, but I just use a container and pour in some water. And I look for a place where to transplant them. So I realized that even after I had weeded using my hand, there are some areas I needed to bring out the soil so that the crops can do well. And this is what I did, but it was so difficult because the rains have really rained. This is black cotton soil, and it kept sticking on the djembe or on the hoe. So all the time I had to hit the djembe on the stone here so that I can be able to work on it. Now I was so tired. The gumboots were so heavy because they had a lot of mud on them. It was even difficult for me to walk. I tried to remove the mud with my hands, but it was also so difficult. So I looked for a stick and was able to remove the thick mud so that I could now be able to wash them. So thank you so much for watching this video up to this time. I hope you have enjoyed. Kindly leave a comment or any suggestion in the comments section below. I'll see you in the next video. Thank you.